Conan Harris. This is a full circle moment for me, I think, in the building of the brand. The Multifaceted Mama, our kickstart was the Black Fathers Matter campaign. And I remember just kind of cold calling, reaching out to you and saying, hey, I have an idea and I wanted you to talk to me about what it needs to be a Black father. And we're absolutely happy to oblige. And you were one of the bases of the Black Fathers Matter campaign that we started off with. So I want to thank you again for that, for kind of that vote of confidence and showing up there. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I think for me, continuing to build the brand kind of behind the scenes, but this is another pivot for me. So launching a podcast, launching just a new platform to continue to share those stories, whether it's the representation stories, the celebration of being multifaceted. Wanted to, again, reach out. And so definitely full circles moment having you on the couch with me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure.
So welcome.
Super proud of you.
Thank you.
Super proud of what you've been built.
Thank you. Absolutely, very deliberately. So when I think about being multifaceted, for me, it really is the ability to show up authentically in the spaces and places that we occupy every day and to be our true selves. Talk to me about what that means for you.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me. It's an absolute honor to be connected and seeing you grow and continue to produce new things and continue to move the brand forward. I think, when I think about multifaceted, for me, it's really about how I show up and being my authentic self in every space. And I think that different spaces that I find myself, then I wear different uniforms, but I'm always authentically living life. And that could be from a professional standpoint, to being a dad, to being a husband, defining myself. I always say, laugh with my brothers and talk about from the White House to the block and still being Conan in every space. I've been fortunate to be in a lot of spaces that a lot of my peers don't find themselves in. And the goal is to make sure wherever you go, to know that you're good enough and to show up authentically yourself. Growing up, I didn't see a lot of brothers that want to be in these spaces. And so I wanted to make sure that when I do find myself there, that I'm representing and bringing myself to the forefront.
Absolutely. So you talk about representation. Talk to me a little bit about your journey and how you were able to navigate to where you are now, kind of where you are now, who you are today, and what either role models you had or what role models you didn't have coming up.
Well, first, I'll just say, I grew up in a single-parent household to a mother who loved me to death. I grew up knowing love and being loved, and grew up in Roxbury and in Dorchester, but mostly in Dorchester. And as a young man, as a young Black man navigating in the city of Boston, got in a lot of troubles that I see a lot of our young brothers face today, which led to incarceration, which led to violence and all these different things that we see our young people go through today. And then I, went through a process of trying to get my stuff together and go and get my education. And I think that, college became an equalizer for me because I realized that I could do other things versus be a physical dominant male and really deal with things through a violence lens. And once I started getting all A's in college, it really started to change. And another thing that helped make a transition for me was I used to be a part of this thing called Second Thoughts. And it was while I was incarcerated. And it was this thing when we talked to young people from DYS about the behaviors and the consequences of their behaviors. They had this moment at break time where the young people could kind of talk to whoever they wanted to. And I looked up and they were all surrounded around me. And so I went back in the cell that evening and I said, what is it about me that has young people drawn to my every word? And that forced me to start making the adjustments in my life, my personal life, my behavior, how I was reacting and responding. Long story short, I came out here and did everything from working with young people to working with parents and organizations. I did not see many men. I see a lot of Black men, but I didn't see many men in these spaces coming from the experiences that I had as a young man. And so it made me less trustworthy of them. Not because they didn't share my trauma, but because I didn't feel like they saw me through a worthy lens. Feel like they spoke over you. So I didn't have role models. My role model was my mother. I seen this woman who had 4 children, kind of everyday work and try to figure out life and surround us around love and loved us to death, even to the point where that love had gotten me out of circumstances. But one of the things that I felt with representation is now that I am who I am, kind of have shared some of these same spaces that I once saw, I just try to be authentically me. So if I'm in City Hall or when I'm in the White House or either one of them in the block, just showing up as myself and not identifying Eurocentric views as the way of being professional or authentic, but carrying the way we see it, right? So if I hug you and give you a big hug and dap on the street, while I see you in the City Hall, I'm gonna do the same thing. That doesn't give me a reason to now all of a sudden, be super tight. So I just decided that I'm good. And in those moments and times in my professional path where I had to look myself in the mirror and really be like, yeah, you're good enough, do just the way you are. And we really believe in that allowed me to continue on my path, being who I needed to be, and being willing to lose everything for the sake of just being me. And it worked out. To God be the glory. It continued on that path forward.
When you think about the impact and like the mark you want to leave based on the work that you're doing, what do you envision?
And I wear so many hats, right? That, I was thinking about that the other day because I see so much death happening around me, and I'm seeing people die for reasons that maybe, they heart attacks no more, they, the shoot over here. You just see people just die. That's my peers. And you're like, what's going on? I want my daughter to remember me as her dad, as someone who's been handed a consistent figure in her life that was loving and that taught her how to be a young girl and how to be respected by men, by watching me and how I deliberately try to teach her. I want my wife to remember me as a steadfast man that was consistent about being a provider of love as well as other things, right? And that was her partner. And never try to compete with her, but was her partner in life and loved her. And to the community at large, it was really about somebody who dared to be himself and was consistently himself and gave for his heart and try to be genuine in every space and anytime I was in a position to represent them. And so that's really at the core. I've done many things, but that's kind of the way I stand at it. I was authentically me, and anytime I've given, it was based off of genuine love for community and nothing else.
So talk to me about the work that you're doing now, like where you are in terms of, from a professional perspective, the work that you're doing and how you're building kind of your legacy in that way.
It's been interesting because I knew that I wanted to get into this thing of trying to save lives. I didn't know how I would do it. I just knew that was the goal, and it took on different limbs. Like I knew that I learned that I can't save nobody. That was the humbling moment. But the truth of the matter is that I went from, working with individuals to now running my own business. And for the last 4 years, I created my own firm, Conan Harris and Associates, and what we've been doing, we specialize in strategic planning, capacity building, and executive coaching. Because what I realized is that there was a lot of us Black and brown folks that was in these directors positions and kind of was right at the precipice of running their own or being the ED or the CEO. We just had some hurdles to get through, so I wanted to be able to coach folks through. See as well, I kind of went through that process of being like the guy that was incarcerated to the guy who was that head of public safety for the whole city of Boston to travel around the country helping other cities do it. It was really about my businesses, really about helping businesses grow, cities grow, and really do the work the right way for where it becomes a thought to an action, and then to be deliberate with making sure that the action is touching real people. And so I feel like my business has done well financially. I've got to put live staff on there, but I think that how I want it to be remembered, their legacy is that there's two things that go on. There's people who have resources in our community, and there's people who do good work in our community. And what I try to make sure that the resources get in the hands of the people doing the work.
I mean, that we climbed.
You know?
Absolutely. So you said that the executive coaching is something that you do.
Yes.
When you talk me through how you got into coaching. So I have like my experiences with you, but I'm really interested to hear more about what led you to the coaching part of it.
It's interesting because I feel like, you know, I didn't chose it. It literally chose me.
Okay.
You know, it's funny about that. I feel I'm the guy barely for the women, and they on all their person, right? And then it's the same thing with my friend group. Even if you're older and younger, you know, they all kind of seek me out for advice. And so what I wanted to do was not let that skill set that I had go to waste. So what I did is I invested in myself. I got the kind of training I needed to facilitate conversations and helping people get to a place where they're moving themselves up the ladder emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. And then I started to put a structure around it, and it started to work. I was able to see people make progress through the coaching that I gave them.
That's great. So for me, I know that when we met back in 2015, you really are the person, like not by force, but I think just naturally, organically, you see things in people and pull them out. So when we met in 2015, that was shortly after the passing of my husband. And I remember I did not know you. We were at a Juneteenth event, I think at the Museum of Fine Arts.
Yes.
And we happened to be in a group of people that knew each other. And I remember you walking up to me and just being like, you look like you have a lot of pain on you. So that ability to read somebody that you did not know, I think is amazing.
I look like.
I did.
Whatever.
If you know.
Whoever you are, whatever.
We're not assuming that how I present, that tends to be how I present. But I remember you said it, and you said it in such a way that I didn't take offense, but I heard what you said. And I remember that I kind of walked away from that conversation, but it stuck with me. And then I remember running into you years later after doing some internal work. And I remember you doing a very similar reading of me and just being like, hey, I can see the difference. So I think that it's amazing that somewhere deep down inside of you, you're able to read people.
That's the skill set.
Absolutely.
That comes from being this young man in the neighborhood. That, you know, that meant safety for me, being able to read situations of people. But, you know, I love us as Black people because we exist. There's no prop to it. There's no hidden agenda. There's just, I see us and I see love. And when I saw you that day, I was like, you know, you was with a young lady who I considered a young sister of mine. And I was like, and I was just looking at you. You was there, but you wasn't there. And I was like, I don't know, I'm say anything to this sis. I don't want to offend her, but I want to love her. And I wanted to know that I could save her. I just want you to feel love. And so I stepped to you like, hey, sis, what's up? You good? You folk, and you gave you that look like, yo, dude, like back up. I don't know you, but I was here. But it was a part of you that was warm too, so it allowed me to kind of still persist.
Absolutely. I think it's amazing. But like you said, those words, they definitely went a long way. In that moment, I think anytime we connected, it has been a positive experience. You definitely are able to pour positivity into the people around you. So I genuinely appreciate it. Like I said, you were very much willing to be a part of the Black Lives Matter campaign, and pouring into that, and kind of that support meant a lot.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it, and I'm sure anybody kind of cross paths with you, whether it's professionally or personally, appreciates that.
No. Thank you for that. I think the world of you. Like, honestly, I seen you hurt, but that wasn't it. You literally had a light behind that hurt, and it was important to let you know that I see it, and that whenever you need, no gender, I don't need nothing. You just can call. And that was important to translate that to you, and I'm glad that you did.
I absolutely, and it's meant a lot along the way. Every kind of touch point along the way meant a lot.
And the thing about you will call. I say, you will follow my life or about.
And I appreciate you answering the call.
No, that was what I'm saying. But it's funny. I I was in Medellin last week when you called. You was just on it. I was like, sis, I'm going to do it. And you did something that was so beautiful. You handled me with such care because my cup was running over at this point. And he was just like, brother, do your thing. Handling the best.
Absolutely.
Get with me when you can.
Absolutely.
Handle you. And I was like, wow.
No.
What you did was you decompressed the whole situation. I was like, you know what? You got it.
Absolutely.
I loved how you handled that. That was born.
Absolutely. I appreciate
That was born. You hugged me after the phone. You don't even know what you did. I was literally in this hotel, like, let me get out of here and like breathe a little bit. And you was like, and then people was hitting me like, yo, I need this, I need that, I need this. And I was like, I can't do nothing. And he was like, you just gave me a hug through the phone. I appreciate it.
No, that's very real. So as much as I'm high functioning and there's a lot of things to get done, I'm very big on giving grace and providing space and allowing for that breathing room. So you explain what was going on, and that's completely necessary. We're all human at the end of the day. And it was important to take that space, and I think it's great that you were able to do that.
So talk to me real quick. So now,
But
how do you do?
I'm great.
Yes,
I am.
Great. Look at you. I'm looking at all this signing up. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that. I think that it's a good question. It has been a while. So we're coming up on, I think it's 7 years since the passing of my husband. So a lot happens over time. I think when we got together for the Black Authors Matter, it was around like the 5-year mark. And that was a pivot point. But it's an everyday thing. You wake up every day and you are different every day and you experience every day. There's different feelings that come with it. So I think for me, it has been a transition, lots of different transitions, lots of mini transitions. But all in all, I'm great. And then that light has come full circle. There were a lot of things that I wanted to accomplish that I have accomplished. So it's very much been about building a life for myself and my son. And I'm doing that, waking up every day and working towards that. And this brand is definitely a big part of that. It's an opportunity to kind of share my story. I think that what I talked about during the Black Papa's Honor campaign when I was launching the brand is the fact that it's an opportunity to turn that pain into passion. So that really is what this has been. There was kind of a fire that was lit, and I've been able to kind of take that and use that to transition it into something bigger.
So the beauty of legacy, I just want to be so love real quick. You know, the legacy of your husband is he is present. And so what you do, and he's going to live on forever, not just through your son and not just through you, but the product that you produce.
Absolutely.
And that's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift.
Absolutely.
That is everything. So kudos to you for that. Little talk. People won't even know it. They just watch it.
Yeah.
And you be later on and like looking at it like, look at, I kept us going.
No, that's very real. As those like bigger celebrations happen, I remember after the first brand shoot, coming along with my son, and it was a huge production, but it was really the first time we had really done something at that scale for the brand. And I remember seeing a rainbow when we were driving home. And I let him know, I was like, that's your father smiling down on us. Like, did a good job, and he would be very proud of us. So that's very real, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, come on, motion that. I like that. Listen, the funny thing about us Black folks, man, is that we have to wear many hats.
Absolutely.
We wear so many hats. We got pairs of this, unity, this, that. What I would always advise us to think about as well is the thing that we don't always talk about is wealth building. And the reason why, even I was talking to you about, we was talking about, hey, we know what's house.
Yeah.
No, I think you were like, listen, Conan, more that, I'm more that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you are, because we deserve to do good work. We deserve to take care of our families. We deserve to live comfortably.
Absolutely. I'm very big on that. Absolutely.
We deserve to live comfortably. And I didn't know about that. I lived in a world that was full of duty. Me and my wife, we grew up understanding duty and obligation, and less about us. And not till 5 years ago, I took a step back and said, hey, this duty stuff is taking us out of here. Let me make sure that we're okay while we're doing this. And that's what I started to build wealth for my fans. And it's changed everything.
Absolutely.
And so as Black folks listen to this, see this, they need to know that part of being multifaceted needs to be about helping to build wealth for you and yours as well, wherever that looks like.
Absolutely. And I think that's literally the kind of catalyst for this. It was a mechanism to have an additional stream of income. Like, yes, I work very hard at my 9 to 5, and I'm proud of the work that I do there. I'm proud of my career. But one stream of income is too close to no streams of income for me. So it's how else can I generate income? And it was far more than just a t-shirt line. It really was about building a movement and creating a platform to share these stories, but they went hand in hand. So I definitely agree.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that.
So I'm going to pivot now, and we're going to talk about the affirmation cards.
Okay.
So I'm very big on speaking positivity over your life and positive affirmations. I am a vision board person. I'm very big on speak what you seek until you see what you thought. So like speaking things into existence, kind of manifesting positivity for your life. So I created this deck of cards to help with that. The thought process is you pull a card, and kind of just see how it resonates with you and your life. So both are.
We
I have to think with it.
Victory. The survive constantly can prove it. Nothing can dim the light that shines from within.
Okay.
I'm the defense.
How do you feel about that? What does that mean to you?
No, I've always felt this way. I feel like, there's too many incidents that could have took me out of here. So I've always believed that God is forever present, and I'm living the life that He's put in place for me to live it. And I've also believed that there's something that we have to do, get us eyes so we can see, ears so we can hear, so we can touch. So I believe that this movement on our side. But I've always felt like, man, I'm here living in His glory because He made it so.
Yeah.
And so this is right in the line. Because I always think about how they, right? There's some great people out there, some smart people work hard. There's some things that happen, and God decided me. And I just feel like I'm very blessed for that. And so that light that's within. Malcolm says it best. He says once that light is on, you can't tell anybody that you tried. And so I feel very blessed to be in that position, and I manifest this.
Absolutely.
How that?
Okay.
Let me down. No. I can't.
I got it.
You can't just sit here with the nice host.
I'm
chilling. You gotta do this.
Okay. It says, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. And that is real.
Bingo.
I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. I think that for me, it's very big. This is very big. This production, this platform is very big. It's been a long time coming. I think I've been hiding from it. But I'm here, and this is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So I'm excited about this new journey. I'm excited about starting something that I'm hoping will be a great opportunity to have conversations like this. It will be an opportunity for people to share their stories. And it's an opportunity for me to share my story and to use my voice to spread the word and kind of amplify these stories.
Wow.
So I absolutely right on that.
I believe that. Anytime you create a platform where you get a voice for the people, you can't vote.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
Absolutely.
So you're doing it. You're sitting in this place for you right now.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.